Hello, everyone, from the Matt Morris Digital Studio here in Fresno, California. This is the Beem and Dean Show, episode 87, with the sports director of KSEE24 and CBS47, Scott Bemis. I am Dean Schiro. Welcome aboard. Fun weekend. A lot of, no football, no college football, no pro football, but there was some exciting stuff going on over the weekend. We had the Australian Open. It was pretty epic on both sides. We had the Tournament of Roses 1 month later. We'll explain. And
nice tease,
Dean. Some sad news from the NBA in terms of a Fresno State Bulldog. And then this is Super Bowl week. Are we excited? Are we excited about Super Bowl week?
Yeah. Here's why I'm excited, Dean. Every time I'm excited to get it over with.
Yeah.
Right? I'll be excited to watch the game once it gets started, but the endless build up to the Super Bowl just drives me crazy. And but once it's finally here, I'll just be glad that kind of it's in our rearview mirror and we can start focusing on college basketball.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, and then the cool news of the Super Bowl is on KSEE24 this year, so please tune in. We got some exciting stuff going on next weekend, including a digital show that's going to be done by Medeiros Bab and Rhett Rodriguez and Dylan Morgan from the sports department. That'll be kind of cool. But let's kind of recap. We'll start with the Australian Open really quick. Carlos Alcaraz, he gets by those cramps and, all of a sudden he gets to the final and beats Djokovic. And then, I called it.
I got a question for you,
Rybakina.
Yeah, Rybakina, you did great on the Aussie Open, by the way. Dean did great. I always love the first show of a new month, Dean, because we get to take stock of how our picks did, our contest each week, right? Or each month.
Yes.
And later in the show, you're going to see me with a big fat donut at the end because I went all in. And Dean had a very good month. But
I'll just show it really quick. So 1255.31, those who are following along and betting along, you could have made 25%. So doesn't always happen this way. I wish I could always disclaim it that way, but it doesn't. But I did hit with.
Thank you for not showing mine, by the way.
We'll show yours later. But Rybakina, I was stunned. I didn't think that one was going to come through, Scotty. I really didn't. So.
Well, she gives Sabalenka problems, and we're gonna geek out on tennis here real quick. We're gonna go deep on this, Dean. But there is one player that gives Sabalenka trouble, and it's Elena Rybakina, at least in recent times, right? When Sabalenka's kind of become the dominant player on the women's game in the last 3 years or so, okay. I would say. And it's because she can match Sabalenka's power and actually even overpower her at some points. And she's got a huge serve,
right.
One of the biggest in the game. So, I heard them talking about it on the broadcast. It's kind of like a men's match more than it's a women's match, where a break of serve is so huge. Sometimes in the women's game, there's 3 or 4 breaks in a given set, and a serve isn't that huge of a weapon. In this case, it was a huge weapon, not only for Rybakina, but for Sabalenka as well.
Right.
And so she got the first set. She won it. Yeah, like you said, Sabalenka rebounded, played quality tennis for the next second set and a half. She was up 3-love, right, in the final set.
I know.
And let it get away. And you could tell how disappointed she was with that. But I mean, matches can turn when you're talking about two players who are as evenly matched as those two are. Yeah. Things can change in a hurry, right? And so congratulations to Rybakina.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, honestly, it was just crazy. It was a great tournament. I mean, the only thing is the lack of sleep on Friday for me.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is that we had maybe the most epic. What, Friday night was it? Men's semifinals?
It was really Thursday night here in the States, Friday night in Australia. Thursday night here. I got very little sleep.
Yeah, I was impressed with Dean because I made it through the first semifinal, right? Which was the cramping Carlos Alcaraz against
I knew when I lost it too because the texting went away.
Yeah.
We were fully engaged and all of a sudden it was just me.
It was just probably around 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to bed. Yeah, and I can't make it through a full nether men's semifinal. Did you stay up and watch the whole second semifinal?
I was in and out of lucid consciousness, but yes, I pretty much saw most of it.
Wow, Dean, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And I was so disappointed, and we'll get to it in a minute. I mean, I was really stunned on the second match. Novak. I mean, Novak's amazing. I want to clarify that Novak is an amazing tennis player, but I was a little disappointed. I'll get into it in a minute, but it was a heck of a night. I mean, this whole tournament, I love that Australian Open. I really really do. I just wish there wasn't. I just wish there wasn't a 19-hour time difference.
Well, actually, I like the time difference, Steve, because for me, working in news, I'm working 3 to midnight, 3 to 1 a.m. a lot of the time. And so when I get off work, or even when I'm finishing up work here, we have TVs at our desk, little insider term. It's one of the perks of
you flip it on
of working at a news station. You have tennis on, and it's one of the things I really enjoy. It's kind of like when the British Open gets going over the summer, and you have golf starting at like 11 p.m. At night.
That's true.
Sure, I wouldn't want it every single week, but it's kind of fun to have a major. For a guy with my schedule, I go home and I got important tennis on. At 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., which is kind of fun. And sometimes I can't turn it off like you did because the match is so good, or I'm engaged, or I might have a shekel on somebody or a pick here on the show. Which my tennis picks didn't go very well, but
we tried.
But it was just, that Friday night or the semifinal night of the Australian Open on the men's side. That could have been, you could argue that might have been the most epic night of tennis. Yeah, I wasn't here pre-1980 or know much about it, but in my lifetime, it might have been.
Yeah, they had a stat. It was like the first time that both semis had gotten to, in a major, got to 5 sets. I believe it was Wimbledon in 2018 or 2019. It had been that long, like almost a full decade.
Well, and just the drama that was associated with it, because you had Alcaraz dealing with those cramps.
Yes.
Like if you watch this match, and see, that's the thing, a lot of people may not realize how this match played out. Alcaraz won the first 2 sets, and then in the third set, he couldn't move.
Yes.
He couldn't move. Yet he was still able to get it into a tiebreak, which was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Dean.
He was serving at 86 miles an hour.
Yeah, he was trying to finish the points pretty quickly because anytime he was getting stretched side to side, he couldn't hang in there, but he was still producing enough winners to get the set to a tiebreak, and then to get the 4th set to a tiebreak. And you're kind of watching this and you're going, okay, if he can kind of elongate the 4th set a little bit, he seems to be getting somewhat better.
He's gaining steam, gaining motion.
He's pounding pickle juice during the changeovers. He's taking pills. He's calling at his coaching
He's yelling at his box
as far as getting more waters or something or whatever. Yeah. And it just was like human drama playing out, right? And then for Djokovic, to try to beat one of the a younger version of Djokovic, like I've said, and to actually beat him.
Yeah.
Just what an epic night
of
tennis.
Great. I have to say, I was very impressed with Zverev. Very impressed. Honestly, he was excellent. I have never really watched him play before. I've seen spot play, but to watch him for 5 sets, I was very impressed. And I was very impressed how he finished up too. He had nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever. He played his butt off.
You know what also always adds to the drama of tennis, and why I think tennis at its highest level, like first round matches where Alcaraz is going to 6-2, 6-2, 6-2 somebody, doesn't carry much intrigue.
Right.
But at its highest level, when you have some drama as far as who's actually going to win the match, it's unbelievable to watch. It's also because of the drama that exists in a given match between the two players, between the injury timeouts and this and that, because you had Zverev out there saying
he wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, he's yelling while Carlos is getting treated for the cramps. Yeah. Because it's supposed to be an injury timeout, Dean.
Not a cramp timeout.
Not a cramp timeout. Right. So you could argue whether that really, the trainer should be able to come out and treat that, right? And so he's arguing while Carlos is getting treated about 15 feet away from him, right?
Yeah. And the clock's rolling 3.5 minutes. Rolling,
yeah. And you're watching this match. That match had it all.
It did. Honestly, but I wasn't sure if it was cramps or not, Scott, at first. I couldn't tell. I thought maybe he got hurt.
I didn't know what it was.
Maybe he pulled a muscle or something, because he was doing a lot of lunging and stretching and sliding. And then all of a sudden it went away and he was literally stationary. He was playing on one leg. Like I was texting you, like, how's this man playing on one leg? And it looked like at one point he was going to go to the net and retire.
Yeah, it looked like he was. After he lost the 3rd set, I believe. He went up there and it looked like he was going to shake hands with Zverev.
I thought so too.
And then he thought twice about it.
Right.
And look at him now. He's Australian Open champion.
Yeah, because was it Musetti that retired to Novak?
Yeah.
So, because Novak got a great break. And then, like I said, we'll get into it more on Sinner, because I do have a point on him. But let's get to the golf really quick. The Tournament of Roses, it's always the beginning of January. Well, we're going to call it the end of January. Justin Rose turns back the clock at 45, and he beats the field by, 6 strokes? It was over on Thursday. I got to give him a lot of credit.
Justin Rose always plays difficult course as well. It seems like he's been a great U.S. Open player over the years.
Yeah.
He's been solid in the Open Championship on some of the more difficult tracks over there. And so we should have kind of maybe seen this coming, because he's been trending very well over the last 6 months to a year. Played well in the Ryder Cup.
Well, he played lights out in the Ryder Cup.
I think he won it. Didn't he win a FedEx Cup event last year, I believe, too?
And he played in the playoff against Rory in the Masters.
In the Masters as well. And so Justin Rose still has it. He can still win a major. No doubt about it.
Right.
And he's just one of those guys that, like, when he had that 4-shot lead, 17 under par, again at Torrey Pines. The North Course, they play one round there, so that's a gettable track for those guys. But the South Course, with that rough and everything else,
South rough is tough.
It is a U.S. Open type of setup. They play U.S. Opens there. The famous one with Tiger where he beat Rocco Mediate. And for him to be 17 under after 2 rounds was amazing. And then there was no chinks in the armor. He just kept rolling right through, right? I mean, made no big mistakes over the weekend, and just 23 under at that tournament is an incredible score.
Yeah, it's a record breaker too, and he was very well aware of that yesterday. But I want to talk about Brooks Koepka a little bit, because Brooks made the cut. He finished at -4, first time playing 4 rounds. Obviously, I think since 2020. I was impressed, and I was impressed how the PGA embraced him. The fans embraced him. It's good for golf. You could tell he was excited to be back. He was relieved that the week was over, but he was excited to be back. And as a PGA fan, I was excited to have him back. I thought it was a great thing. Scotty, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's good for golf, right? It's good for golf to have Brooks Koepka back on the PGA Tour. I'm in a wait and see mode as far as seeing how big a factor he's going to be on the PGA Tour this year, because Brooks kind of has to show it to me that he's back even near the level where he was, 5 years ago or so, because he seems to have fallen off a little bit with his level recently. Putting was kind of an issue. The ball striking didn't look too bad.
It improved yesterday. His putting wasn't great Saturday at all.
Yeah. This week will be maybe a better barometer, because he's always played well at the Phoenix Open, and he's in the field.
It was his
in Phoenix.
It was his last PGA win.
Yeah,
I think in 2018 they said. And then we got more of the big hitters coming this week. Scotty's playing this week. Spieth's playing this week. I think JT's playing this week. So that's the only thing I was going to say about the San Diego tournament, the Farmers, was that not a lot of the best players played this last week. I'm not trying to downplay what happened to Justin Rose at all. He was amazing. I think he might have even beaten those guys. If you're going to shoot 23 under, even the great Scotty Scheffler might have been in for a run. I feel kind
of sad for the Farmers Insurance Open, because to me that's always been like kind of a marquee event. Tiger Woods won 1 million times there, back in the day,
including a U.S. Open.
It's played, on a great golf course that's a major championship worthy golf course.
Yeah.
And for it to, the reason that they don't get the fields they're getting anymore is because it's not an elevated event.
Yeah.
Pebble is now the elevated event. Pebble used to have the poor field, whereas Farmers used to have the better field. Now it's kind of flip-flopped, right?
Yeah.
And I'm excited for Pebble Beach as someone who goes out there and watches it.
Right.
But I feel kind of bad for that tourney that they don't get the marquee field, because I think it's worthy of it with the golf course, the setting, and everything else.
Yeah, no, it's a great course. It's the best course I've ever played in my life. I did play the South Course once. It was for a wedding, and it was the best 108 I've ever shot in my life.
I'm impressed that you shot 108, Dean.
And I even had a par. I had a par on the number 3, the par 3 going downhill by the ocean. I actually parred that.
You know what's funny? Cool. I've never actually played Torrey Pines. I've been down there probably 10 or 15 times in my life to watch the tournament.
Yeah.
But I've never actually played the course.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was for a wedding. We all played. It was fun. It was probably one of the best $205 I've ever spent in my life. And then we actually got a caddy for the first 3 holes too. So they were kind of going over the lay of the land, the champions, giving you club selections, and it was pretty cool. So, but anyway, it was a great tournament. All right, really quick. So Fresno State's own Paul George suspended 25 games for taking a substance that he shouldn't have. Your thoughts on Paul George?
I mean, you take Paul George at his word. He's been a good guy, a good dude, and this was so random, right? This is like kind of the last thing you ever expected to see, like as a headline, like Paul George violating an anti-drug policy.
Yeah.
Now it sounds like, and again, like I think we all give Paul George the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
He's always been a stand-up dude. It seems like
he's already apologized.
He's treated
for the
people
mistake.
well, and so he claims it was something for mental health that he was taking, and he took an improper medication, and so we'll take what we'll take Paul at his word. He's accepting his punishment.
Yeah.
And to me, all right, we move on.
Yeah, me
kind
too.
Of thing. I just unless there's something else that comes out about this, I feel like, hey, guy made a mistake. He deserves the benefit of the doubt with the way he's carried himself up until this point, and we move on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I just wanted to be transparent on that. He did admit the mistake, and we all make mistakes in life. So, all right, let's get into our coming in hot segment. All right, Scotty, 2 topics. I'm going to go right back to the Australian Open really quick because I didn't want to go a lot into the Sinner match against Djokovic, which was the semifinal. But again, I noticed it again, Scotty, and it bothered me, not just because I had to play on it with you, but it bothered me because I just didn't see that killer instinct again from Jannik Sinner. And there's times where I just see it and it just bothers the heck out of me. It happened at the French last year against Alcaraz. He was up big and then lost the match. Now that's Alcaraz. This is a aging Novak Djokovic who really shouldn't have even been there because of Musetti. I just wanted to kind of mention it. I mentioned it to you in passing. It just kind of bothered me. He's a great player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but I think that he would even get to the next level if he can maybe just raise his intensity level and his killer instinct a little bit. So you're my tennis guru. I'll get your thoughts on this.
Well, I mean, yes, he probably should win that match against Novak, but you got to consider it's still Novak Djokovic on the other side, and he's not going to give much in that match. Sure, he may be a little bit older. He may not be the spry Novak of 10, 15 years ago that could get to every single ball.
Right.
But Novak is still a quality tennis player, a top 5 player in the world. And so I think you got to give Novak some credit for that. I didn't watch this match at the end, so it's hard for me to say what exactly happened to Sinner here late. I know Sinner is a great talent.
Yep.
And,
no doubt.
In my opinion, one of the reasons that he's been really good is that he has played important points well, but there have been a few moments, in certain matches where he's been expected to win, where he hasn't been able to kind of get over the hump. But, the guy's young. So, I'm sure he'll learn from this. Yeah. And, I don't think we should judge him too harshly this early in his career about stuff like this.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, when you've got, guys like Rafa and Roger Federer, you want to get to that level. And, of course, Djokovic, who's got more majors than anybody. I'm not trying to downplay it again. I was just a little disappointed. Like, he's up 2-1. I just kind of want to see that killer instinct there. A lot of balls that he could have gotten to, a lot of balls that he left a lot of balls in play. He hit a lot of balls out, which was kind of unlike him. He was trying to play corners a lot and just had a little difficulty. I know you didn't get to see all the match, but I mean, I saw too much of it actually. But, I just wanted to kind of throw it out there. Jannik, come on, man. For us Italians, you could be the greatest ever. I just need you to get to that next level and get that hunger and intensity up. So,
because Dean needs to cash these tickets, right? Also,
yeah, I could have won $50 more for our viewers here on Beem and Dean. I could have gotten over that 1,300 level for all these people. But anyway,
you need to beat Beem in the monthly contest.
Come on, Jannik, help me out. All right, let's get to Scotty's topic really quick. So we got the World Baseball Classic coming up here, the best of the world. But we're not going to see the best in the world in some cases because of an insurance scandal. I'm going to call it a scandal because I think it is. I don't understand why guys like Miguel Rojas can't play for Venezuela now because of some sort of insurance loop. I'll let you kind of fill me in more.
Well, my take on this is, the World Baseball Classic is coming up, right? That's what is it? Every 3 years do they do it? Or 2 years? Every 2 years they do the World Baseball Classic where these players represent their country.
Yes.
United States, Aaron Judge is on the United States team this year, which is going to be exciting.
Japan.
Yeah, so it's Venezuela's always really good in it. Puerto Rico's always really good. Dominican Republic is always really good, right? Japan's always has a solid team as well. But some of the top names apparently are not going to play in the World Baseball Classic, at least at this point, because they can't get insurance. My take on this: figure this out. I mean, figure this out. I read the story. I don't claim to be an insurance expert, so I don't really understand exactly what goes on here.
Yes.
But it sounds like somehow the WBC has its own insurance that they provide for these players, right? Okay. Because yes, there's been some major injuries in the World Baseball Classic, so these players want to be insured against losing salary that they would get this year in Major League Baseball or in the future. I understand that. Major League Baseball needs to step in here, in my opinion. This is a big marquee event that had some juice last time. It had kind of just been something that was there and it didn't really catch on, to the level I think they had hoped for. The baseball diehards may be into it. But last time it had some juice with the Shohei, Mike Trout stuff, everything else.
Yeah.
And I think with Aaron Judge being in the mix this time, I'm assuming Shohei's playing, right? For Japan.
And I think Yamamoto's playing too for Japan as well.
This could have some real juice. Here, right? This could be great for baseball, for Major League Baseball, all that. Just like the Four Nations Cup when it took off for hockey was huge for hockey.
Right.
So you got to figure this out. Jump in Major League Baseball, or the owners come in and guarantee these guys their salary for this year if they get hurt in the World Baseball Classic. Figure it out. There's ways to figure this out, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And just kind of stepping back and saying, oh, well, the World Baseball Classic insurance isn't providing it or whatever it is, and Francisco Lindor is not going to get to play because of that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Scotty, why is it mostly hitting the Latin American countries, though? Do you have any insight on that? It looks like it's more like the Latin American countries are having the issues with this as opposed to like the United States and Japan. So.
I don't have any insight into that. I'd have to read more into this as to what exactly is going on. It's kind of hard to figure out.
Yeah.
But, from what I read, it just sounds like that there's insurance provided by the World Baseball Classic.
Right.
That with Lindor's history,
right,
with some of these guys' history of being older or injury prone or whatever it is, that they are not going to provide them insurance through that policy.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, there are options for like baseball to come in, or the owner of their major league team could provide them, insurance on something. To me, it just feels like this is an opportunity to highlight your sport. And don't let this happen because of some kind of technicality like this where we don't have some of the big name stars in this.
Yeah, completely agree. I don't like it at all. I don't like the fact that countries like very proud baseball countries like the Dominican Republic are going to be down maybe 4 or 5 of their best players because of this issue. Let them play.
It totally delegitimizes and
like the Bad News Bears.
The event in a way, right?
Play.
Right.
Let them play, right? Let's do it.
Right. I mean, and I get it that these guys want insurance too. I get that side of it because they're playing in something outside of their salary and they don't want to risk millions of dollars, the risk of injury that could be there. But it's like, to me, it's kind of the onus is on Major League Baseball a little bit here to get involved in this.
Absolutely.
Encourage your owners to figure out a way to insure these guys' salaries in some way to injury,
No question. I agree completely. All right, really quick, before we get to our money plays today, Fresno State basketball got a nice win at Air Force. The men's team got a nice win at Air Force on Saturday. The Vance Wahlberg era, where do we stand in your opinion? You're our sports director here. Where do we stand right now with the Vance Wahlberg era, and what would you like to see kind of happen here for the rest of 2026 in particular?
Well, it kind of feels like this team has taken the proper steps, right, to become a legitimate, respectable team in the Mountain West Conference this year, where they went through the program kind of got turned upside down, bottomed out last year. We thought maybe it was the year before, but it really turned out to be last year when they bottomed out. Only the 6 wins. They've gotten back to respectability. Now, the next step this program needs to take, they need to knock off somebody of note. They still haven't gotten that marquee win in the Vance Wahlberg area. Now, I think they're 4-6 in the Mountain West now.
I believe
a couple
so.
of games that they could have had, that Nevada game, it was hanging right there for them. All they had to do was grab it, and they kind of let it get away. That would have been a nice win for them.
Yep.
Utah State was somewhat close. At some point here, to take that next step, they need to knock off one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the conference. Whether that's Utah State, San Diego State, I'm trying to think. Nevada, maybe this year, is probably included in that mix. Mm-hmm. I'm probably forgetting New Mexico is up there.
Grand Canyon's up there, aren't
Grand
they?
Canyon, yeah. Grand Canyon, another example where they're there with them in the second half at home, but they can't get over the hump.
Yeah.
So it's time. It's time for them, and that would be great if they could somehow, maybe they finish like a game or 2 under 500, but at some point, if they can knock off somebody, to kind of show, kind of make a headline, here in the Valley. Because all these wins, when you win at Air Force, it's not going to generate much headline.
I get it. We got this big game tomorrow night.
UNLV, but, UNLV, again, they're kind of, it would be nice. It would be nice. People recognize UNLV, so it would mean something to beat UNLV. But I'm saying, hey, shock Utah State at Utah State.
Yeah, beat them in Logan.
Beat New Mexico at home, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't think they play San Diego State at the Seymour Center this year.
Yeah.
But knock them off, at home or whatever.
Yeah.
And see, to me, that would kind of grab some attention because there are people who are starting to show up slowly, at the Seymour Center. It's kind of trickling in. They're doing a good job of marketing and all that stuff. And there is a little bit of momentum that's kind of building here. Now you need that national headline grabber where maybe you knock off a ranked team and you show up on SportsCenter, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think they're playing better as a team. They're gelling better. I like kind of what Vance is kind of doing. They're still not playing that up-tempo style that we were kind of promised.
That's true.
I think, in my opinion, I mean, they're playing a lot of slow down games.
I don't think he has the personnel that he hopes for with that, or some of the personnel that he'd hoped for, they've had some injury issues that have hurt out.
Didn't pan out, yeah. But anyway, like I said, you got this game. They did beat a good Colorado State team that's kind of slumping now. I thought they were going to be a really good team this year. Not as good as last year, but I thought they were going to be better than they are right now. They lost to Wyoming over the weekend. So, yeah, I mean, just college basketball in general. Obviously, now that we kind of flipped the page, I mean, that Michigan team's darn good. Duke's playing really, really good. I know you've got several plays in action from your Nevada time. Who are you kind of looking at right now from a national standpoint? I know Texas Tech's got a big game tonight that we both have a play on. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think there's probably like 6 to 10 teams that have a legitimate shot of winning it all. I think you start with UConn again. UConn at very solid Big East team. Mm-hmm. I might throw St. John's into that mix. So they're kind of on the periphery of teams. Right. Maybe that might have a shot. But when you go to the Big Ten, Michigan, obviously, that's a huge win for them.
That was a big win
at Michigan State. Yeah. That showed me a lot. The way
that was a big win in East Lansing.
Gave up the lead and then were still able to win it late.
Yep.
That is a team with tons of height.
Yes.
Man, I mean, they've got length on that team.
They do.
So Michigan certainly, they might even be the favorite right now overall.
Sure.
Right up there with UConn.
Right.
I think other Big Ten teams, Illinois.
They beat Nebraska yesterday in Lincoln. That's a big win.
Yeah, no, Illinois. I've got a ticket on them.
Nice.
To win the Big Ten.
Nice.
So that was a huge win for them yesterday.
Good.
So I think Michigan State maybe. Purdue kind of on the periphery. I think they've let a few get away, but I still think they're a team that could be a contender.
Okay.
Duke, obviously, on the short list. I think Duke's on the short list, actually, along probably with like UConn and Michigan. And then the other team, you go to the Big 12, which is probably top to bottom.
The best league.
I agree. It's crazy night in and night out in the Big 12.
Yeah.
But Arizona.
Yeah.
I hate getting this excited about Arizona or mentioning them.
Because they always fall apart in the tournament.
They always seem to disappoint in the tournament.
Yeah.
But when you watch Arizona, you're like, this is an unbelievable team. This looks like almost like an NBA team, at this point with the amount of athleticism they have out there.
Yep.
And so Arizona's on the short list. And then some other Big 12 teams. Iowa State is a team with TJ Otzelberger.
Yes.
Love the way they play defense.
Yes.
I get excited. I don't know if you saw the clip of the Florida guy over the weekend, Chinyelu, guarding the guard for Alabama.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip?
I did see it, yeah. I mean, that was a nice win for Florida, by the way.
I didn't mean to get sidetracked,
but we're good.
I love watching defense like that. And that's what Iowa State brings to the table as well. Florida, by the way, another team that I should bring up.
All right, let's get to our money plays real quick. All right, we've already recapped. Oops. Yeah, there we go. We've already recapped January. Let's get right into February, Scotty. Let's get to your plays first. You've got one big play tonight. Go for it.
Fresh month, so I start with $1,000 again. Yeah, $1,000 we start with each month. It's a month-long competition. Dean and I provide plays each week. Man with the higher money amount at the end of the month is the winner. Digging deep, trying to find something for you tonight. I'm going to take another teaser here. I'm going to move it 4 points this time, and so this is an even money bet. Actually, it's minus 110 on a 4-point teaser.
Still good.
Stephen F. Austin, very good team in the Southland Conference. They're taking on probably the preseason favorite, McNeese, but Stephen F. Austin's at home, have not lost at home this season. I'm going to bump that up to 5.5, and then I'm going to bump Texas Tech down to 0.5. Coming off a loss, this is not a good spot for Kansas, in my opinion, because Texas Tech going to be chomping at the bit after dropping one, at Central Florida over the weekend. Kansas coming off an emotional, great win over BYU at home. Could be a little bit of a letdown in play for the Jayhawks. So I think Texas Tech's going to win this game tonight in a raucous environment. And so that's my teaser, 33 to win 30.
I've got a bunch. I'll just screenshot it, guys. I got 9 plays in there. I'll highlight one of them in particular. I'm going to go back to that Texas Tech game. Give me $50 on Texas Tech money line minus 218. Not to win a whole lot there. You could take the 4.5. I think it's a little bit more dangerous, meaning they're giving 4.5 to Kansas. This game is in Lubbock. And I've got some NBA and NHL plays for today and tomorrow. I've got a college basketball play for tomorrow in there too. Indiana getting a 1.5 at USC coming off the big win against UCLA, and then Boston College, Duke, Boston College, and then SMU. Any last thoughts, Scotty, before we got to go?
Man, I was out shooting everything, or I would have taken a look at DraftKings and tried to give you some college basketball for tomorrow. Maybe I'll get inspired and throw some up on X.
All right, we'll be back on Thursday. This has been the Beem and Dean Show.